Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been 9 months since my hair transplant, and today I decided, as I'm doing my regular updates, monthly updates on my progress and everything, I decided to answer your questions about the preparation process. What do you need to do in order to prepare properly for a hair transplant? What are the steps that I took in preparation for my hair transplant? I'm gonna answer all of your questions now. Let's get started. Alright guys, now let's get started. Well, preparing for a hair transplant is a process. It's not something that you can do completely spontaneously. You can't just show up on the day of the surgery, right? You need some careful planning in the months and the weeks prior to the surgery that will make a difference in your healing process, in your comfort, your results. So here is my step-by-step guide that is drawn from both professional guidance and my first-hand experience, with some practical tips for both FUE, which was the one that I had, and FUT hair transplant as well. Now, first of all, in the months prior to the surgery, there are supplements and procedures and things that you can do to prepare the hair. You want to prepare the hair because you are going to be your own donor. The hair that will be transplanted will be taken from the back of your head, sometimes from the sides as well. If you don't have enough, sometimes even from your beard. But that means that your hair should be really in a good state, in the best state that you can do. Therefore, you want to make it thicker, you want to make it healthy, and all of that is achievable through certain supplements that you can take in the forms of pills, oral supplements. You can have topical supplements as well, and there are certain procedures. So let's go through this. Well, first, what are the supplements that you can take orally? Biotin is probably the most popular. It helps with keratin production, which is the protein that your hair is made of. Many people take it before and after the transplant for an added support. Vitamin D plays a role in follicle functions. Zinc is also important for repair and scalp health, but high doses of it can cause blood thinning, so you always have to check with your clinic about when to pause before the surgery. I would say at least 3 to 4 weeks. Also, eating protein is important because it supports strong hair growth. Fish and eggs and chicken and beans are very good choices. Omega-3 fatty acids are also very helping to hydrate the scalp, to give the hair a healthy glow and shine. They can support follicle health overall. And in terms of procedures, hair PRP is a procedure that is becoming more and more popular. That's the one that I actually did. There's also red light therapy and other procedures. I personally did 3 hair PRP procedures in the months leading to the surgery. And if you're not familiar with the terminology, hair PRP is basically a therapy that uses your own blood plasma, concentrated with growth factors and platelets injected into the scalp. Many clinics offer this before and after the transplants too. It strengthens the donor hair and it thickens the existing follicles pre-surgery, and it improves the scalp health and the healing after the procedure. It also boosts the graft survival rate and minimizes the shedding, the shock loss of the hair after the surgery. So it's widely used as a pre and post transplant enhancer. Some clinics recommend 1 session a month before the surgery to prime the scalp. In my case, I actually did 3 procedures, and I didn't do them every month. I had more time because I started preparing early enough, so I did pace them out. It's good to actually leave about 3 months in between the procedures, because this is when you actually see the effect better. But you don't have to if you are rushed in time and you don't have a whole year like I did. Then you can make these procedures a little bit more frequent, and you can have them once a month, because all it does is preparing the hair. It's making it stronger and thicker. In my case, Cosmedica, the clinic that performed my surgery, they also performed this hair PRP procedure on the day of the surgery, so I didn't really have to do it separately. But after I complete my first year post-surgery, I will be booking another one just for maintenance. You can also use low-level laser therapy. And these are basically a red light or laser caps or helmets that can stimulate blood flow. They can boost the cell repair as well and promote healthier and thicker hair. So these are non-invasive, painless procedures that can be used before and after as well your transplant for added benefit. And I also recently started using this product here. This is a hairband that is massaging the head. It is enhancing the blood flow and everything, which is also very good. And it stimulates the hair growth because, you know, blood circulation is important for the hair growth. This is why I decided to add this product also to my routine. I'm also taking a few oral supplements like minoxidil and biotin and stuff like that, but this is now the post care, and I will be dedicating a different video to the post care. Now let's continue with what you need to do in preparation for the procedure. Make sure to avoid excessive sun exposure or tanning, especially if you have bald patches, because sunburnt or irritated scalp is a no-go for surgery. Make sure to be keeping the hair hydrated. Use gentle shampoos. If you're going for the FUE procedure, it doesn't matter if you have a long or short hair because they will be shaving it. For FUT procedure, you should grow your hair at the donor side, which is the back of your head, to at least 1 or 2 inches long to help, you know, hide the stitches and the scarring after the procedure. But this is also something that your surgeon will be advising, so make sure to ask that question during your consultations. And definitely, probably the most important part of the preparation is to do several consultations with different places. Make sure to consult with different surgeons, guys, because you want to pick the one that feels right for you and the one that will have the most experience with your type of hair, your type of hair baldness, because there are different types of hair loss. And according to the type of hair loss that you're experiencing, there would be, you know, different things that you would have to do. So even though most of these things are applicable to everyone, you should still seek specific advice for your specific problems, right? So definitely consult with different places, book 3 or 4 different clinics and consult with different surgeons, and this is how you're going to choose which is the right one for you. The hair clinic that I picked, Cosmedica, was the one that for me seemed to be the right one because I did consultations and I was happy with you know, what they were advising me and the questions that they were asking me, and I compared to the consultations that I did with some other places, and I wasn't really happy with some of the responses that I got to some of my questions in some other places. So this is why for me Cosmedica was the place. And I do have the link of Cosmedica in the description below, so if you want, you can contact them, schedule a consultation appointment or something and see how it goes. Okay, now let's go into the week prior to the surgery, because there are certain things that you need to do specifically in that last week. For instance, you should stop smoking, ideally, or at least, you know, cut down as much as you can. I am vaping, so I didn't quite stop, but I did reduce it to a minimum. Also, alcohol consumption should be eliminated in the week prior to the surgery because alcohol is also affecting your blood flow. This is important for pre-surgery as it is important for the recovery. So in the week prior and in the week after the surgery, you should be prepared to not smoke and not drink alcohol. Another thing to avoid is extensive workouts, any physical labor. 2 or 3 days before the surgery, you should avoid any physical activities, any harsh physical activities, so that you can reduce swelling risks. I mean, light exercise is fine, but heavy lifting should wait until you are cleared post-surgery, and that will be at least a week after the surgery, ideally maybe even a couple of weeks after the surgery, but it also depends on your general health and fitness. Now, on the day of the surgery, washing your hair is not a must. If you do wash your hair, use a gentle shampoo, but skip conditioners or styling sprays. Make sure that your scalp is clean. That will reduce your infection risk. Also, rest well. A good rest is going to make you recover faster as well. And prepare an outfit. Choose a button-up or zip-top shirt for the day. Don't try to have any t-shirts or things that will be that you will have to be pulling down or pulling up, because you don't really want to be doing anything around the head area. So ideally, a shirt so that you can button it up, or something that you can zip up and then you can take it off easily. Also, make sure to arrange a transport if that's not included in your package, because with Cosmedica I did have a transport. I also had a 5-star hotel that was included in the package, and all of this was provided, so I didn't really have to worry about that. But if you don't have that provided, make sure that to arrange your transport. You don't want to be going on public transport after the surgery. You will be bandaged and you don't want to contaminate the area. You will be feeling fine because you're not under general anesthetic. You have local anesthesia, but it's not advisable to be transporting yourself or even driving, because there is a lot of stress on the area. So definitely arrange a transport. Do not risk it. Prior to the surgery, if you are having a meal, it should be a light meal. Don't eat anything too greasy or anything like that. I personally didn't have any food until the lunch break, because during the surgery we actually had a lunch break. Also, don't wear any jewelry, anything that could actually tangle and make it difficult for you to undress. You want everything to be quite sterile, quite clean, and you want to avoid any risks of infection. So yeah, on the day of the surgery, everything should be kept to a minimum. And if you are having an FUT procedure, then the longer your hair is at the donor side, the better it is, because it will help camouflage stitches after the strip is being removed. But again, this is something that your doctor will be advising you, so make sure to ask that question. And as to how you decide whether you're having an FUT or FUE, basically this will be decided during your consultations. The surgeon is the one who's going to decide what is the procedure that is needed for you, for your type of baldness, for your type of hair loss. This is also important. Make sure that you don't just book a consultation with an FUE specific clinic, because if the clinic is only doing FUE procedure, then they're not going to be able to advise you about FUT. I did have a couple of consultations prior to deciding which is the right procedure for me, and both consultations were clear that FUE is the right procedure for me. I don't need FUT. Therefore, I went to Cosmedica, and Cosmedica is mainly doing FUE. But I did consult with other places prior to choosing Cosmedica, and this is why I was okay to go for a clinic that is only performing FUE procedures. But your first consultation should be with a neutral doctor, someone who is either capable of doing both, like a third-party doctor that can advise you purely from a doctor's perspective what is better for you, and then you can go and consult with an actual surgeon that will be doing the procedure. So this is another thing that is also very important. Just prior to the surgery, in the days prior to the surgery, you should pause any minoxidil or any other supplements that you might be taking. I personally didn't take any supplements prior to the surgery. I only did the hair PRP procedures as a preparation, but I do recommend that you take supplements, because they will make your hair thicker and healthier. And because you are your donor, you want your hair, your donor hair, to be at its best shape, right? You want it to be really at its optimal stage. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to mention is a couple of weeks before the surgery, 2 weeks before the surgery, you should stop any topical treatments if you're doing any of those. Minoxidil, for instance, is a very popular one. So it's good to ask your doctor about this, but generally, a couple of weeks before the surgery, it's good to stop this to reduce the bleeding or scalp sensitivity as well. And generally speaking, being thorough with your preparation is going to give you the best possible results and the best possible start as well. So make sure that you take really good care of your hair prior to the surgery. Stick to your clinic's guidance. I mean, obviously they will give you some guidance, some tips, some requirements, things to do prior to the surgery. Make sure to follow this very meticulously, because all of these things are going to impact your results, and you want the best results, right? You can see here my results now on the screen. This is from beginning to the current 9 month. Obviously, in the beginning you will see that the hair is being very thin, very gentle. It's almost like baby hair, and this is normal. I'm going to dedicate a separate video to recovery process, and I'm going to explain in detail what I was doing during my recovery and everything. But you can see that the hair started growing immediately, and week after week it's just getting longer and thicker. I did not have any stress loss of hair. This is something that people experience sometimes. It is considered to be natural, to be a normal thing, but in my case, my hair started growing from day one, and I never really had any falling of hairs. There was some shedding, some scabbing from the scalp because the scalp is distressed in the beginning. This is perfectly normal. There was some swelling as well. This was only for the first couple of days, and then it subsided. The scabbing continued for the first 3 to 4 weeks. After the second month, I didn't have that anymore, and around the third, fourth month is when I actually started styling my hair. It was long enough at that point to actually give it a direction, to give it a shape and everything. And around the fourth month also, I had my first trimming of my hair only on the sides of the head. I didn't really want to cut it on top. I wanted to see how fast it will grow, and I think it was around the 5th or 6th month that I actually started cutting it ever so slightly on the top as well, just maintaining the hairstyle that I'm currently having. This is the hairstyle that I like, and I want to keep that hairstyle. It's the same hairstyle that I also had prior to the surgery. Also, in your consultations, this is the last thing that I'm going to mention here, is that in your preparation, in your consultations, you should discuss your hairline. My hairline was brought down by around a centimeter, around a finger's width of, here it was brought down. In your case, it might need to be lowered even more, depending on how much your hairline has been reduced. So this is something to discuss. You should agree on that. And also, I maintained my natural hairline. It's not perfect. It's not absolutely symmetrical. That's how it was originally, and that's how they drew it on my scalp. And we agreed that this is how I want it, because I was very specific about my hair looking completely normal and natural. I didn't want it to look like I've had a hair transplant. I didn't want people who don't know me to know that I had a hair transplant. Of course, my friends and family, they know. I'm quite open about it, and I'm doing these videos here on YouTube. But as I'm meeting people in real life, I don't want them immediately to be like, his hair looks fake, right? So I was very clear about that, and I did 4,000 grafts. I could have gone for more and get my hair even thicker. I mean, you can see here that there is room for improvement. I could get it even thicker than that, but I think it's going to look a little bit too fake, right? And I wanted it to look natural as possible. So we discussed 3,500 to 4,500 grafts. I decided to go for 4,000. So these are things to discuss with the surgeon, and make sure in your consultations you discuss how many grafts you want to have. Alright guys, well, this is everything for this video. I hope I answered all of your questions. In the follow-up videos, expect from me to cover the whole process, what exactly it involves, the process of the surgery. And then in another video, I will discuss the whole process of the recovery, what that involves and everything. I will answer all of your questions, because I keep getting questions on these videos that I'm posting. So there will be more great valuable content that is coming up your way. Make sure to be subscribed and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And I'm gonna see you in the next one.